So hi, this is Christine Crowell. How would you feel about if you looked at a job position and it said humans need not apply, AI only? Now, I did a video yesterday, a live, about, it's here somewhere, about how you can use AI tools like chatgpt, for example, and all the tools to really help you automate your business and also for streamlining your staff. Now, this video today, I'm going to talk briefly about some of the evolution that's happened to where we are today, where we're now becoming dependent on AI. So AI really started whereby it's been around for years, it's not really come into our atmosphere. So for example, farmers used to use like conveyor belts to help streamline and make things easier so they wasn't doing such heavy work, for example. Another example is whereby the car factories were using robotic arms, etc., to lift things that were heavy, that was very stressful and time consuming and labor intensive for humans, for example. But now what I'm looking at is it's now actually in most industries now. So before it was used for like things that were heavy machinery. Now it's used for everything, anything, artificial intelligence wise. So we've now got it in all of the industries. For example, yesterday, I saw something whereby the robots are being released out of a factory into these industries that we all know and we all work in. And one of them is healthcare. Now, these robots have been trained to do personal care. And I'm not saying this to scare anybody. I just want us to be aware of these things. And I'm doing a live tonight about it. I'm going to go more in detail in the live. But there's such an evolution of this AI from where it was, robotic arms, heavy machinery, and it was very helpful in that way. But now it's got so much analytical data that the human brain can't beat it. So the AI is actually more smarter than the human brain, and it can do the job of thousands, for example. Now, it's even in the hospitals. We've got robots in the hospitals. I saw them myself in America, where these robots were actually in the room, on the wards, or in a private patient's room, for example, monitoring, being companions. They can do companionship, they can now do personal care, they can also be like pets as well for those that can't have a human pet, for example. So imagine the evolution that's happened from something many years ago and where we are today with AI. It can do so much that it's so scary at the same time. Although, we all praise it and we say, yeah, this is great. But Elon Musk talked about how he is actually saying that the possibility is that a lot of people will be out of jobs, and that worldwide this is, and that there's going to have to be some sort of universal credit where people actually get paid money, because obviously they're not going to have anything to live on because their jobs have been taken by AI. Now, I'm not saying this to scare anybody. I'm just being true and I'm being real here, that this is what's happening right now. And we have got to think about what we can do, for example, in terms of how we can be the ones operating the AI. Look, AIs are working in surgery, surgeries. They're doing surgery with surgeons, the top surgeons, for example, they're pristine, they're really on point. There's little room for error, for example. So it makes sense that they can do this because it should help patients' outcomes. However, what's going to happen with people's jobs? For example, what is really going to happen? And in my live tonight, I'm going to just go a bit more into it, because Elon Musk says, that he feels that this is going to happen. It's not that maybe, he says it is going to happen, where people will be out of a job. So what is it that you can think of right now, for example, that is AI related? Maybe you could do a business that is AI related. Maybe you can look at what jobs or what positions or what training that you can get that is AI related, because there's a saying that it says humans may not apply. So can you imagine seeing a job advert where it literally says that? I just saw this article, like I said, I saw it last night, whereby they said that the factory is releasing thousands of robots into industries. They've been trained, they've been programmed, they've been trained. And there was even an event recently abroad, for example, where it was robotic events, where there's cleaners, there's lots of jobs, lots of industries whereby a lot of people will be losing their jobs if they don't know how to work with AI. So like for me, for example, my mission next week is to train my virtual assistants on how to use AI. So that's why I've got all of this software, so that I can really show them, so they can be more specialized in healthcare, for example. And I don't want to just be, taking it for granted. I want to be informed. I want to be ahead of the times. And I'm sure you do as well. Whatever industry you're in, AI is there. We're using it. We're using chatgpt. We're using all of these software. There's videos. Listen, imagine the movies that we watch on TV. You can actually create your own movie to look like a Hollywood movie, for example. So what is going to happen there? So that's why I was saying again, YouTube is going to be like the new TV, where you can actually create your own movie by using a video AI tool, and it's going to create a video. And there's people on YouTube now, they've created a faceless YouTube channel, and they're making millions from it. And this is another thing I wanted to talk to you about, because I just saw my YouTube revenue, and it went down. It's gone down. I missed the deadline for getting paid on the 21st of January because I was $1.30 short. How frustrating is that? But I did loads of videos, but I know that doesn't work. So like I said, I've been experimenting to see how things work on YouTube. And this is why small creators, we need to look at what is working, for example, and what's not working as well. And don't reinvent the wheel. Follow what is working, for example. So I hope that you'll be able to join me tonight for the live. When I go live, I'm going to stand up. So just bear with me a second whilst I just show you this beautiful location where I am. But I've also got to look where I'm walking, because I don't want to trip. As you can see, the water's right there. Beautiful. So I'm just going to go over here. hold on to my my iPods because I don't want them going in the sea or anything. So just go back onto the path here. So AI is massive. It's massive. We have got some changes, 2025 changes. You're seeing that the AI is being used in the hospitals, for example. If you're healthcare, wherever you are, you're seeing them being used. And when my twin brother, when he was alive, when he first got sick at Disney, he was at a Disney hospital, and a robot came to introduce itself to him and had a conversation, was very chirpy with this robot, for example. And when my twin brother told me, I couldn't believe it. I was like, really? And he said, yeah. And when he left the Disney hospital, went to Michigan because he lives in Michigan. So they went back home to Michigan, and he went into the hospital there in Michigan. And then what happened was that there was a robot there, and we called this robot T-bot. We called this robot T-bot because it literally was a robot, and it was monitoring my twin brother. And this was in a hospital in Michigan. And although this robot, it was controlled by a human being, there was like a monitor, and this monitor had, well, I couldn't really see properly, but there was all these different ward rooms, for example, where vulnerable people were. And these robots were in the room with the patient, for example. So, you know, like how it used to be when someone was, or maybe you didn't know, when someone was sick in hospital, they would have someone come and sit with them, called a sitter. And this person would usually sit outside the door, or they would sit inside the room, for example, apart from if the person needed some privacy, for example, then they would go out the room and sit outside of the hospital ward door, for example. So the sitters, they've all been replaced, because if they're sometimes, though, in all honesty, the family members do pay for a sitter to come and sit with their relative, and can sit outside, for example, and be there 24/7, for example, because hospital staff are very short staffed. Because I know when I was there when my twin brother was very ill, and the robot that was there in the room, we stayed with my twin, because what's a robot at the end of the day? They just sit there in the corner and just respond. If you try and get up, they had a sensor which is 360 degree. It could see everything apart from in the bathroom, so you had your privacy there, for example, but it can hear all of your conversations, everything. And if the patient was to try and get out of the bed, the robot, which is the technician that controlled the robot, would speak through the speaker and would say, please sit down, for example. But there were quite a few times where we would have a little argument with the robot, because the robot wasn't very pleasant, because of the person who was operating the robot, for example. But this is where we are. This is where we are, guys. It's AI. Everything is AI. And there's positions for operating, for example, positions for operating the AIs. So I think we need to start looking at those positions if people want a job, because I think we'll end up in quite a big, where there's a lot of people without work because the AI or the robots are taking over. And I don't mean that to scare you. I'm just being upfront of what I'm seeing. I don't know what you think in the comments, have you been replaced because they've got the AI in? And yes, I do talk about the AI for, doing your automation, repetitive task, for example, because it does help businesses and it does reduce costs and it does help them to make a savings each month so that they can put away 10-15% of their profit into a bank account to save. I do talk about that, and I think it's still important to do. But with the AI and the robots, we cannot. This is something we can't stop. We can't stop this. And it's here. It's here to stay. And I don't know if you can see here. You see the hawk flying. It's just gone back down. I call that my CEO because it's a hawk. But what I want to really say is this, soon we will see an ad. Humans may not apply, and that will be quite scary. Now, if there's a mass amount of people out of work because of the AI and the robots, then surely the government has to step in and pay people for some sort of income for loss of their money, because that could be a loss of their money, it could be a loss of their reducing their pension. There's lots of implications for this AI being introduced, for example. So imagine that you're like a manager and you're a boardroom manager or something, really high position, and you've got AI that's just taken over and you've been let go at your job, for example. There's going to be I feel that there's going to be a lot of mental health going to be affected by this as well, because if you're used to working in a position for a long time and then suddenly you've been replaced with AI, how are you going to feel? You're not going to feel happy. Don't matter how much pay you get in compensation for losing your job, you still want to be able to do something. So what is it that you're going to be able to do when you've been used to doing something for such a long time and you've been replaced by a robot? How is that going to make you feel? So I haven't done this video to make you feel down. I've done this video to make you aware. Look, we've seen it in the movies. We've seen it in Star Trek. We've seen it in lots of shows, haven't we, about these robots? Star Wars, they're there. And, the brain, our human brains are so intelligent that we've actually created these things ourselves to make life easier. But we're actually could be making life more difficult, for example, for ourselves. But I don't know what the future holds. Only God knows that. All the higher powers that be, Mother Nature, for example, whatever you believe in, something is happening. And yes, AI is a lot easier now. It's a lot better for us. Not 100% at the moment, but it's still a big advancement and it is being used. So I would love to hear your comments about what you think about AI and whether you're thinking about whether your job will be replaced with using AI. So thank you so much for listening to this video today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and join me live tonight when I go more into depth with this, and I'll talk about a bit more of this because it is a subject that we need to be aware of. Okay, so have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye.